Hi, thanks for spending some time with me again today. I'm going to get right into this one and then see what we can find. This is number 13 in the Develop Sightreading book. And now things are starting to get a little bit more rhythmically interesting, although still relatively straightforward. A little rough at the end there. And you may notice if you're working on these, as is the case with many etudes, the difficulties generally are stacked up toward the end. So you're playing along, enjoying yourself, having a good time, and then all of a sudden you start to stumble a little bit. And many etudes are designed that way. So one thing you'll notice from this one is the very last line. I'll play it again for you. Let's see. So you have eighth notes, triplets, sixteenths, and then sextuplets. So you have 4 subdivisions in a row, all changing on every beat. And that's actually, that bar in itself is a great exercise. So if you just did that, and you listen to it carefully, and you try to play, if you recorded yourself, you try and play with it and see if you can line it up, work it with a metronome in various ways. That's a great way to kind of polish your subdivision skills. And if you want to make it simpler, you just do one subdivision going into another subdivision. For example, earlier in the piece, you have 16th notes and then you have triplets. Let's see. So it's going back and forth between 16th note flow and triplet flow. That gives quite a few people challenges. But if you just practice it at a slower tempo and put the metronome on it and just do something like now, your goal in doing that is when you make the change from, quadruplet to triplet, for example, that there's no adjustment. You're just dropping right in on the triplet subdivision. And of course, once you get into the middle of it, if you're doing, several repetitions, then you find a groove. So the idea is to change tracks smoothly, I guess you might say. It's like you have a couple of different conveyor belts running at different speeds. Okay, and this one there is something else that's very typical of these etudes, written this way on purpose. You notice it starts out with staccato. And then it goes to non-staccato. And most people miss that. So this comes back to what I mentioned earlier on. This is literal interpretation. You may decide not to do that. You may decide that sounds dumb. It must have been a mistake in the printing, whatever, however you're justifying it to yourself. But a good place to start is just see if you can play what's on the page. There's also a lot of questions that come up, and I don't know if I have a good answer for you on this. I guess context would be the best answer. You see triplets, and sometimes triplets have a like a slur mark over them. So you have the slur mark and then the 3 for the triplet. And so should that be slurred? I think I was interpreting them as being slurred because musically that's the way it felt to me. The answer in terms of your preparation is practice them every which way. But when it comes to music, when you're actually performing, you have to decide what you're going to do, and that's, if you're playing in a group, that's a group decision. If you're playing a solo, it has to make sense with what's going on in the rest of the music, in the accompaniment, if you're playing with a pianist, or if you're playing with with a band or an orchestra, for example, what's happening in the orchestra part. Those are stylistic decisions, and the bottom line is the qualities of the articulation need to match, generally speaking. If they don't match, then they're contrasting, and they need to sound like they're contrasting intentionally instead of just accidentally. Otherwise, it becomes very, very kind of confusing to the listener. So these are little details that it's very helpful to be aware of when you're practicing this kind of thing. I think this is a pretty straightforward one, and from now on, they seem of a similar difficulty. And very similar problems. So again, I'm going to skip around a little bit. I think next time I might look at number 17. 17 is where the proverbial manure hits the fan for most people because there are mixed meters. So that presents different problems. And we'll see what we can do with that coming up. I think maybe I ought to go practice that before I play it for you, but I've just been reading through these, but we'll see. Nah, I'll just go ahead and play it. I'll see you the next time. Have a great day. Enjoy your practice. I'll see you later on. Bye.